Hello, today is Wynton Marsalis's birthday, the great American jazz trumpeter. He went through a period, a few years, when he felt he was lacking inspiration. He felt he was going through the motions rather, and he wanted to be inspired to be a bit more creative. There is a story about a concert that he gave in a small jazz club uh, towards the end of that period when suddenly inspiration seemed to return to him, and he was playing this extraordinary solo, and everybody in the club was just celebrating the fact that he seemed to have got his oomph back, and he was back to the old Wynton Marsalis, when suddenly somebody sitting in the front row, that their mobile phone went off, and they stood up and walked out and started talking on their phone. And the whole room felt that the magic had just gone because of the disruption of that event, but not for Wynton Marsalis. He started back with his music by playing on his trumpet the tune that the mobile phone had used to indicate there was a caller. And then he began to improvise on those notes and to bring the music back to where he had been before, and to resume the solo that he had been playing. And this enormous skill, this ability to take the disruption and turn it into something creative and bring it back to where he wanted to be, showed everybody in the room that he'd certainly rediscovered his inspiration. And it's a lovely story, I think, because I think it speaks of the way in which all of us want to handle things that go wrong in our lives. Because there are often times when we have plans, we have hopes, which are just upset by some event which takes away our focus, or which means we have to go in a different direction, and it can really throw us. And what we really all want is the ability to somehow take what's happened and build it into a slightly different pathway, maybe, but hopefully eventually to the same future, the same goals to which we were aiming before. And Marsalis was asked what it was that enabled him to have this presence of mind, this ability to do what he did on that evening. And his answer was practice. He spent time with his trumpet. And I think we need to perhaps ask ourselves, where do we draw our inspiration? Where do we draw our strength? And I think just to remind ourselves daily, if we can, of the source of our inner strength, looking inside ourselves. It doesn't take more than a few moments. And for those of us who are Christians, it will be to just spend time with God, to recognize that God is with us, that God is helping us, that God is inside us and moving through us, and nothing that can happen can separate us from that presence and that love. That source of strength, just a daily reminder of it, often will equip us so that when crisis occurs, when something disrupts our lives, we have the ability that Marsalis showed to take the event that has come upon us unexpectedly and transform it into something which moves us on towards the goal for which we were originally aiming.